The Sten gun is a family of British submachine guns which were used extensively by British and Commonwealth forces throughout World War II. They had a simple design and very low production cost, making them effective insurgency weapons for resistance groups. The first suppressed Sten was built following a request from the Special Operations Executive, so SOE, for a submachine gun which could be used for clandestine missions where increased firepower was needed. The Special Operations Executive was a secret British World War II organization. Its purpose was to conduct espionage, sabotage and reconnaissance in occupied Europe and later also in occupied Southeast Asia against the Axis powers and to aid local resistance movements. The Mk2S model, which was developed for the SOE, incorporated an integral suppressor. It was the first weapon of its kind to do this. It had a lower muzzle velocity than the others due to a ported barrel intended to reduce velocity to below the speed of sound, so 300 meters per sec, without needing special ammunition. But the suppressor heated up rapidly when the weapon was fired, and the canvas cover was laced around the suppressor for protection for the firer's supporting hand. While it is widely believed that the S stands for silenced or suppressed in Mark II's, it actually meant special. The weapon was good but not perfect. Sustained full auto fire of just one magazine would effectively wear out the baffles and burn out the suppressor, so its fire had to be kept to single or 2-round bursts. The first operational Mk2S was used in Europe in 1943 by members of the SOE. It also saw action in the Far East with special reconnaissance parties. With the operational success of the Mk2 suppressed Sten, a version of the refined Mk5 was developed in 1944 as the Mk6S. It used the stock furniture and receiver of the Mk5, but included the same canvas insulting shroud developed for the Mk2S. The Mk6 suppressor was shorter than the earlier Mk2S, but was more difficult to disassemble and service. The new silenced Sten was extremely effective, but it had the same issue as the earlier model. It should not be fired in fully automatic beyond short bursts. If fire was kept to single or 2-run bursts, then the weapon avoided serious overheating and fatigue. The weapon impressed not only the British but the German special forces as well. Otto Skorzenyi, the SS officer who took part in the Mussolini rescue operation in September of 1943, went to great lengths to acquire suppressed Stens to his unit. When he finally obtained one, he noted, "What splendid possibilities the use of these silencers offered," I thought enthusiastically. "What losses they might save and what dangers they might avert. How wonderful in case of an unexpected meeting with an enemy detachment to be able to fire without the reports attracting the attention of other enemy units." The German army actually captured a number of Mk2S during the war and designated them the MP751E. E stands for English. Although the Mk2S was officially declared obsolete by the British Army in April of 1945, it remained in service for several decades. A total of 5,776 Mk2S and more than 24,800 Mk6s were made during the war. The British Army continued using them during the counterinsurgency operations in Malaysia and Kenya during the 1960s. The Mk2s and Mk6s remained in British military service until the early 1970s. A suppressed version of the Sterling submachine gun, the L-34A1, was developed to replace the suppressed Stens in 1966 and for many years served alongside the Stens with Special Forces units such as SAS and SBS. They also remained in service into the 1960s with the Australian SAS during both Mk6 and Mk2 in Vietnam. US units of Military Assistance Command Vietnam Special Operations Group also favored suppressed Stens for clandestine operations such as long-range reconnaissance and assassinations. The Mk2s was well liked because it could be disassembled easily and stored compactly in a rucksack. This allowed operators to also carry a primary weapon. The British Army Special Forces would continue to use the suppressed Stens well into the late 1970s, replacing it with suppressed MP5s only in the early 1980s. The suppressed Stens were widely regarded as one of the most efficient silenced submachine gun of the era, seeing service for over 40 years.